Sales are the lifeblood of any business. And if you don't have any sales, you'll soon be out of business. Listen in as the two business guys mastermind on how to find a hungry audience to make massive sales. Enjoy. This business podcast, the two business guys mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome back. The two business guys are back and we're masterminding on a subject matter I think anyone in business needs to hear. And it's, who are you selling to? Is your market hungry for what you have? Rob, we have spun up some companies and spun up some businesses. And I don't know about you, but I've had a couple that people were like, pass.
Exactly. Got the big donut hole.
I don't know if I need that. So, of course, our job is to convince them of that. But, when we start thinking about, are you selling to a hungry audience? Everything depends on that, doesn't it? Now, we've talked about, showing people, how to, grab $1,000 real easy in your business. You're just starting off, right? Here to make your first 1,000. We've talked about, how do you create a free offer that helps people that you then can make money from, right? And then I think last week we were talking about, creating your back end offer. So no matter what you're creating on the front end, that you make a pile on the back end, right? And hey, we talked a little bit about the, Rick Valentine approach, of, what was it, making money with money or making money, getting paid to get paid. But none of that will matter. Listen to what I'm getting ready to tell you guys. None of that will matter if you're selling to nobody who cares. All your efforts are just, and if you ever run ads out there and those ads didn't convert, and I admit, I got one running right now, not converting. And as I look at the product, I think a lot of people out there are kind of going, I don't want to know about that. I want to have some more specifics. Right. And I created it, a little while ago. And I'm like I said, I'm trying to put lipstick on this pig, make it pretty. And it's just not getting any kisses. Yeah. So at some point we have to make a decision. So Rob, tell us a little bit about what is considered a hungry audience? And then we're going into how do we put stuff in front of them that they go, oh my gosh, I got to have that. Put it in front of me and I will eat it.
Right. Now, when you brought this up earlier this week, I was excited to get on and talk today because I think this is where we always go back and forth. You, me, and our good friend Chris as well, because you all are marketers, and so this stuff comes naturally to you. This is kind of like a fish swimming in water for you, right? And I am not a natural marketer, so this has come difficult to me at all stages of every part of any business that I've been part of, and so. If there's any other business owners that are out there that are like me, that struggle with figuring out what the message is and how to package it and how to figure all that type of stuff out, today I want to talk directly to you all because I want you to first understand that it's okay. You are normal. Randy and the other folks that's really good at marketing are actually the abnormal people. That's the first thing I want to say, just so that we clear.
We learned some stuff. We figured some stuff out after you had some failures and nobody's kissing your pig and you're going, what's going on? It's got lipstick on it.
Exactly.
You don't want to kiss a pig.
Right. And I think the other big part of it is understand how to be okay with the failure that comes. As you heard Randy talking about, he is running ads and running things and figuring it out. And that's the thing that I think for me was the most difficult part. I wanted to be able to come up with something catchy or to figure something out, and it hit right off the bat. And what I learned first and kind of get into the question of what does a hungry audience mean is you have to understand what your people want before you go try to give them something. And you have to figure out how what you're doing fills that need, right? It's kind of one of those things because sometimes all you know is that your audience is hungry. You don't know what they want to eat. It's kind of, and sometimes audiences can be fickle. They can be annoying because it's like when you're in the car with somebody and you're like, so what we want to go get to eat? They're like, I don't know. I'm just hungry. And so then you give them like 15 different restaurants and they say no to all the restaurants, right? Understand that that's a lot like what marketing feels like sometimes. You know that your product gives a benefit. You know that your product can help people, but you're trying to find the people that are willing to take action. And the thing that I say in that space is you've got to figure out better how to help your people understand what they want. That's the first piece. You've got to get them to equate the solution to their hunger with your item. And that's where the money is made. That's where the problem is. And a lot of people say, the riches are in the niches. All of that's talking about how you make it more and more obvious that your product is for a specific type of person. And then the other thing that we talk about all the time is you have to really help people to understand their pain points. You've got to help people to understand what their problem is, right? Because a lot of times they just know that they don't feel right. They don't understand what the source of the discomfort is, what the root of the discomfort is. A lot of that is what your product is going to do for them, is to help them to understand that as well as to help them to solve it. But understand that a confused mind says no. And so even though the mind is hungry, you have to make sure that the mind equates your product with satiation, right? With satisfaction. You've got to make sure that when they see your product, that they say, that's the thing that's going to solve my problem. And that's where I think for today's discussion, I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs that were like me, I don't know, Randy and y'all golden children over there, y'all a little bit different, but a lot of the entrepreneurs are like me, man. That was the hardest part of the experience. So Randy, talk about that. What are some of the key kind of principles that people have to deal with to really get their message and craft it in such a way that it not only entices their ideal customer, but it actually convinces or persuades their ideal customer that this is what they want.
Yeah, and that's it right there. You said it. It kind of reminds me, and this was an amazement when I would go to the zoo, and there's one part where all of the fish that typically on a different given day, you'd think that somebody would be eating somebody in there. Right? They got, I got a little baby shark and you got little bluegills running around. And I used to look at this and ask, why aren't they eating? And I think that was the part of the amazement. Hey, you notice they're not eating each other, right? Well, because they're full. They have fed the fish in a way that they don't continually eat on each other. Right. And then when I got a little older and I started fishing, and I would get frustrated about, why my fish isn't eating this nice worm here. Well, they didn't want it, and then I started thinking about, well, when am I fishing? Am I going at a time when they've gotten up and eaten the surface stuff, right? Eating the mosquitoes, they've done all, in other words, they've gotten full. So then I figured out, wait a minute, if I go later in the day, that's a bad time because they fed. If I go at night before they're going ready to go to sleep, so they got some stuff on their belly, they eat up some worms, or early in the morning. So when you are putting a product out there, you are saying, okay, I know folks are eating. In other words, I know they're buying products, right? Because all statistics show that Amazon's still growing. How do I get them, and how do I get them to eat my product? And like you said earlier, Rob, how do I first get them to see that what I have will make them feel really good when they eat? Right? Now, that's what marketing does, right? Yeah. And that's where the practice of marketing is so critical, is that you have to, and I'm going to say it just like that, you have to market in a way that you create the hunger.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Now you create the hunger, with marketing. Right? Oh, you got to have that. Oh my gosh, I got to have that. Oh, I got to seem like my neighbors because they've got it. So I got to have it, So you're applying all the tips and tricks and templates that make people hungry. Then you make sure you got those hungry folks in front of your stuff. Otherwise, they will find something else to eat. And that's where finding the market, either by way of where they're already buying, in the groups that they go to, in the stuff that they talk about, right? And these become the keys. So
Yeah,
then you say, what
because I want
tools
to
do I
ask you
have?
something real quick. Because you just said in step one, you said you got to make them hungry. Are you talking about creating a market? Like, what do you mean by you got to make them hungry? That seems like a lot of work. And B, I don't know. Explain a little bit more, because I don't know if I'm on board with it just yet.
Hey, and this is why the two business guys mastermind. We don't always agree, but this is the key, right? For you guys, we come up and say, you know what? That seems like a lot of work. Well, guess what? Sometimes it is a lot of work. When you are the market creator, you're basically saying, hey, you heard about this crypto thing? You got to have that. And then you go, well, why do I have that? I got some cash in my pocket. But then someone says, well, because it just went from $1 to a lot. So now you're going, well, I don't want to miss out. So then you get people coming in, the marketers coming in saying, this is the next best thing. This is going to change everything. And if you're on the other side of it, it's just like you've let Amazon go from a zero and you didn't invest, you didn't get in, you didn't understand. In other words, your money in your pocket that you think you're satisfied with, that you're saying, this has satisfied my hunger, is now being replaced by something nice, new, and shiny. And you got a lot of people over there saying, I got to get in. Somebody created the market. The marketers.
So I think what I'm hearing, that's what I'm thinking. I think what I'm hearing you saying is you can create a market. Even if there is no market, you can create a market. Now, while I agree with you, again,
perceived value.
I want to take baby steps though, because again, you out there in the experienced marketer realm. For those people that are listening that are new business owners or are they're just starting their business out. Is that the recommended path? Is your recommended path when you're just starting with your products and you're just starting with your customer base, the recommended path to go try to create a market for what you do?
No. Oh, okay. That's your answer. And why it's not the recommended market is because for you to create the hunger is going to take just too much money, right? But here comes the real key parts is they're eating something. Now let's find where they are and where they're feeding and see if I can put an alternative meal.
Yeah. Now that is your business. Tight. And that was, I think, the first thing that you said, the first question you had kind of posed when we were talking about this before we came on camera, which is how do you find your ideal client? So what are some kind of practical steps of like figuring out who your ideal client is? Because I think this is where a lot of entrepreneurs, right, really skip steps. And I know for me, this is one of the things that I used to skip all the time was figuring this out. I thought I knew and I thought I understood. And so I would go straight to creating a product that was going to be awesome before I did this step. What are some of the things that are in this step that you've seen as far as finding out who your person is?
And I did one the other day. I did a video for one of my other channels and I talked about it utilizing a client's work, right? My client happened to be in the crystal space, right? She, finds these crystals and then, packages them and sells them, right? Well, I went to one tool that's free. So listen, everybody, I went to one tool that's free. It's called Google Trends. You literally can type it in Google Trends and it showed. Now, this is one of the key parts. How do you find an audience that's already there looking for stuff? Is Google collects all information. Right. So now we're going to use just this one tool that's free. And then we got some other paid tools we'll tell you about here in a second. But this is now how you're discovering for what I sell. How do I find audience that are looking for it? Well, keyword search. You heard that term before, right? And if you're brand new, this is something that you have to get your mind around. And look, you know me, I don't really like to tell people that they got to do stuff. But when it comes to finding an audience that exists, that you didn't have to create, but that exists already, is by finding where they're already going. Right now. So what I did was I says, okay, great. She's in crystals. And I says, what could I find that she could create an article around and then drive traffic to her, website, her landing page, whatever. And I found that crystals for productivity. Now, this is what I literally did the whole video on, is showing people how to take this free tool and go find find what people are looking for, and then look at what you're offering and say, how can I adapt what I'm offering to what people are looking for?
That's awesome. And
right.
there's
So
going to be a
what
link
are
to
you
that
getting ready to do,
video
y'all?
in the comments below. So y'all can go and check that out, because it's going to be, he's going to go really into depth with it. But I love that, looking and figuring out what they're doing. And you know, you'll like this as a fisherman, right? How do you increase how many fish you get? Go where the fish are, right? and I think that that's one of the things that it's so interesting. But talk to me a little bit about how do we know what words to search? How do we know what things to do? Because I know a lot of times one of the problems that I ran into was that I would always talk about the problem from the perspective of the person who's solving the problem, right? I would talk about it like I would speak on it, and I would never find people that were gravitating to the words that I was using to speak on it.
Right.
And I heard one of my mentors that told me, you know, you gotta speak in the voice of the of your ideal client. But can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Why is that so important?
Yeah, it's because the way we would present stuff isn't always the way somebody wants it or would receive it, right? And I'll give you an example. I'm going to tell a story, and then I'm going to bring it into why it matters, right? I was literally going through, Netflix, and what I look for is, when I'm looking for a movie, I won't really want to be excited by what the first words say to describe it. Right now, I'm ticked off because I'm going through stuff and I'm going, they could have really said that better. I'm not watching that movie, right? I'm not doing that. So, because listen, whoever wrote that wasn't writing it for me. They were writing it for themselves. But I'm the audience that, look, I'm going to satisfy this hunger for watching a movie somehow. Can what you say make me go, I want to eat that? And look, this is the metaphor here. So I'm going through, Rob, and one was like, from the producers of, I don't care about that. And that's literally what I says. I don't care who it ended up being a pretty decent movie. From the producers of did not excite me. But what they were trying to do was basically find their audience by saying, if you like that producer because he produced this thing, then you might like this movie. So you kind of get it, but it did not present an offer to me that was an overwhelming offer, or an offer I just had to take, right? So I skipped through it, and I couldn't find anything after like 15 minutes. So I came back to it. But my point is when you put yourself in the place of who potentially is buying your products, right? We talk about this, creating the avatar, finding your exact audience, and then assuming you're the audience, what would get you to bite out of all the choices that you could make?
Yeah.
What would get you? Right now, that's one thing you're doing. And then you're saying, I'm the consumer now, make me buy this product, make me be excited to buy this product. And that's what you really have to do. But when you're using tools, here's what really happens is that it puts you at least, and using the fish analogy again, of where the fish are.
There we go.
Now your job is to go and put the right bait in front of them, the right product. First things first, right? We find out where they are. We use some free tools. I was able to find out that, listen to what I found, that over in when you're looking at Google Trends, there's this point where it says it has a percentage of 5,000 or more percent, right? And then they put a little word in there that suggests 5,000 or more. 5,000% increase in people searching for crystals for productivity. So now she has crystals. Now get this is the key. Now she may say, I'm not a productivity person. However, you got crystals. So now what you're doing is literally taking your product, finding the audience, seeing they're hungry. Why? Because they're searching for it. Now adapting your product to what they want. And it may be in the case of an article. In this case, it was, hey, we're going to do some content around the crystals that you have and the one that you have created that it helps increase productivity. Why? Because there has been a more than 5,000%
increase in
search
looking for
that thing. So it makes it kind of easy. So now your job is to go, wait a minute, can I take this information, grab another tool and find out what level of competition? That's where you dig into it a little bit. But these are the things that help us determine what to do. Even YouTube channels.
Okay.
Right now, we do it a little bit differently, right? We kind of go, hey, we're going to talk about this. And I, in the back end, I'll come and find some stuff and I'll, say, well, maybe we ought to make sure these words are said because this is what's being searched for, or I'll do it on the back end. That's a part of it, everybody. This is where your business flips.
Yep. So I hear you, and I like that. So we go to where the people are. We figure out what they want, what they're searching for, what they're looking for, what their pain points are. But then, so once we know where they are, and once we know how to alert them to the fact that they're hungry, right, and that we might have what they want.
Yep.
Another problem that I see a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with is figuring out how to tell, like how to create the sizzle, how to say the right things about the product, how to make sure that product is actually going to, and that copy is actually going to cause action by those people. And I've heard you say this before, and I want you to kind of explain it to the entrepreneurs that are listening, because I heard you say, features tell, benefits sell, right? And just unpack that for me for a little bit for the audience.
All right, so you got a product, right? Imagine if you brought your hamburger, you got a hamburger joint, you're starting off brand new, and you got a lot of people to compete with, and you says our hamburger has ground beef, it has black pepper, it has salt. I'm not buying that hamburger. It has not made me hungry because all you did was tell me the features of the hamburger, right? Now, if you can tell me, well, this quarter-pound burger will not leave you hungry after you eat it. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to be hungry after I eat a little burger, right? I don't want to, be hungry after I've eaten this other burger. You just told me this quarter-pound burger. You just told me the benefits of eating ours because, well, it's a quarter pounder without having to present the features of it in such a way that makes me go to sleep. It told me what this will do for your belly.
Okay.
It's gonna make it full. So, but when you dig to that a little bit more, we start dealing with, and this is where we get into the copy side of it. And this is stuff that, Rob and I, will definitely help you with. And by the way, guys, listen, we want that algorithm when you're looking at this video, we want that algorithm to go crazy. We want Google to say, oh, they talked about some great things. So put some comments down in there, put some questions down there, like this video, hit the bell notification, because we want to show you every time something comes out, boom, you get a notification for that. But this is what we're doing, Rob. We are saying, okay, I've got to entice, I've got to excite, and I've got to make people say, this is an offer that I cannot pass up. So we add some things like here's what it's going to do for your life. Here's the transformation you're going to get. Here's the pain it's going to solve. How can you do that with your product? Here's the pain it's going to solve. Here's how it's going to make you more beautiful. Here's how it's going to make you more popular. Here's going to, it's going to make you better than all your friends. Right now, that's where it gets deep into the weeds, but these are the things that you've got to figure out to make your audience hungry for your product.
Yeah.
You just want to make them hungry. Then they go, well, heck, the first thing comes up, somebody made me hungry, I'm eating that. No, what our product is going to do for you is this.
Right.
Not going to leave you hungry.
Yeah.
Right? Benefit.
Yeah.
Right? And as a result of not being hungry, then you can maybe spend less money.
Right.
Right. All these different things. And you're going, I want that burger over this burger.
Yeah.
Who's done that? Who's done a good job of that? Right. McDonald's, they tell you, what they're going to do for you.
Right.
But then you could choose McDonald's, you could choose Wendy's, you could choose Burger King, but you're probably going over to Chick-fil-A. You say, I was hungry for a burger, but man, something about Chick-fil-A, and people love Chick-fil-A, right?
Yes.
What have they done? They've created these cool commercials that told you, you don't want to eat that. You don't want to eat me. I'm a cow. Leave me alone. Go eat chicken. And I remember when I first started seeing those, and I thought, what they're doing is working on your mind, saying, no, eat more of this instead of that.
Yep. Back to that creating a market.
But then they showed you with their service, we benefit you better.
Yeah.
And it may have
Now,
changed
now,
your mind.
now, what was interesting about kind of that whole process, and I remember for me, it was really difficult in that space, really trying to speak benefits in the language of the ideal customer. I remember one of my mentors told me, she was like, you have to learn how to say your ideal customer's dream come true, right?
Mm.
You've got to be able to put your benefits in the terms of what they want the most in the world. And I know for me, one of the things that was difficult with that was trying to concisely explain that. And what was interesting, right? Yeah, me
That's where you use the bullet
trying
points.
trying to shorten. Go figure. I would have to say something shorter than the normal way that I would say it, right? So the funny thing about it though was it became really difficult because in my mind, I know what my customer wants.
Mhm.
But when you try to make it simple, when you try to get to the heart of it, I realized how little I understood what my customer wanted. And for me, I remember part of the experience that I would have is that you have these, grandiose desires for your customer. You want to change their life. You want to improve everything. You want to give so much value. And
Yeah.
right, like that's where our minds as entrepreneurs are kind of stuck. And I think that one of the hardest things to understand for me was to understand the difference between this individual transaction and the lifetime of the customer being part
Mm.
of the organization, and being able to say that in this individual transaction, generally they don't have these big grandiose dreams. So for example, if they're hungry, getting unhungry is not like an existential event. Getting unhungry or getting satisfied is all about putting food in your belly. That's it.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's okay for the benefit to be something simple, right? It's okay for the benefit to be something relatively easily attainable. But so I remember kind of the struggle, and I think just from this perspective, I would love to hear your thought on what people can do so that they can get over that struggle of trying to figure out what their customers want. I know for me, it was, doing market research, which I didn't know how to do, and which seemed like it was really weird when I first started doing it. But are there other, with market research or anything else, what are some tips or tools that you have
Sure.
for really
Yeah.
being able to understand what the client actually is asking for?
Yeah. And to your point, when you sit down for a meal, that is not saying send it all at once, right? And that's when you talk about the lifetime value of the customer. If you want to say it a different way, the lifetime buying habits of the customer, right? And we may have to parse it out, right? And if you notice, you go to a restaurant, they say, "What would you like to start off with?"
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that gets your palate all nice and enticed. It gives you something exciting. Typically, you don't start off with the dessert because
Mm-hmm.
we have been conditioned to get that later, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and then when you order in an order. So
Mm-hmm.
that's knowing that now suggests to you as the presenter of your product a way that I can put it out there in small bites.
Mm-hmm.
And will that small bite make them go, that tasted good? What else you got?
Right.
What else do you have? Right now, that's when we talked about the front end offers, right? Even if they're for free, right? Free or paid, however you want to do it, is what you're putting in front of them, making them go, that was a nice appetizer.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like the rest, please. And then they go, oh, that was a tremendous meal. I've got room for dessert, right? So right there in that 3-act, the beginning, the middle, and then the end, right? And that's not the end of your customer, because guess what? They're going to want another meal.
Exactly.
And that's how you're thinking about this, is you can do several things to find out. One of those things is you're saying, hey, customers, what do you want? Now, Henry Ford says, if I had asked my customers that question, they would have said, oh, I want more horses. But he was able, and this is why they say in cars have horsepower. It's still pulling in. We gave you more horses,
Yep.
but in a different way.
Exactly.
I want more whatever. I want more customers. I want more, but what you really want is more money. So we may say, when Rob and I are doing our work with you, is that here's a way to get more money in a faster way, right? Yeah. So instead of selling more, we may say, do you believe your customers will take a price increase?
Right.
Right. Do you think, and this is where you understand not the psychology or demographics or anything like that. You understand the psychographics. Now listen, I don't like dropping too big of words on anybody because it's like, okay, guy, cut that out. Mr. Academia. So we say the psychographics, in other words, the habits of the why they do what they do, right? And that's where you now are figuring out what to say to really get into the psychographics. You got people that have bought whole fleets of vehicles because their neighbors had some different or better. Right? We've got people that buy in whole neighborhoods all because they want to impress.
Yep, they're keeping up with the Joneses.
Right. So are you now speaking? It's not your business to tell them how to impress their neighbors. Your business is to put something in front of them that they say, this will impress my neighbors.
Yep.
They don't have this product.
Now I think that's a space I think that will give a lot of people pause, right? Because we talk about best practices and these are things that you want to do, but I think that there's room to talk about ethics in that space too, right? Like, you don't have to sell to everybody that wants what you have. You can sell to a certain demographic. I remember when I was running my jiu-jitsu studio, and we had a franchise under the Gracies, right? And the whole idea of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is that, like, we were intentional about, this is not a place where, if your main goal is to be an MMA fighter, is to be a sports jiu-jitsu guy, is to be or gal, or if your main thing is to do fighting for fun, you're not going to enjoy the experience here, because we don't do a lot of that, right? Like, especially in the beginning. There's a whole year of training that you're going to do in our gym that's not going to be fighting for fun. It's going to be fighting for function. Right. And I would sit down with clients when they first came in. I was like, look, if you want to be a UFC, heavyweight champion, something like that, there's some other gyms that you probably want to go to. But if you want to go and know that if somebody's bigger than you, taller than you, more athletic than you, stronger than you, and they're trying to bash your face in, if your goal is to make sure that you can survive that fight and actually come out on top, then we got you. That's what we do. That's who we're for. If you're trying to learn how to fight to defend yourself, then we can take care of you. If you're trying to learn how to fight for sport, then you're going to enjoy yourself at some other places, because we don't have that type of ethos here. It's not this whole thing where you coming in and you trying to dominate the people around you and all the rest of that. That's not how we do it. So it was intentional. Like, I would send people away, and I would send them to the other gyms, because it's not like that's bad. That's just not what we do. And so if they had that want, then we would send them away. But that helped us to, again, riches are in the niches. That helped us to really develop a tight core of the people that we actually were trying to train. Absolutely. And to make their experience amazing, because they didn't have to deal with all of the extra stuff of being in an unsafe environment where people are trying to do stuff they're not supposed to do, or where they're trying to compete, and where this right. We cultivated an environment where everybody was trying to make each other better with the consent of the other, right? Right. And so I think that there's something to be said for,
you just said if there are features versus benefits.
Exactly, right.
Here's what you could get features at a jiu-jitsu spot, but here's what you get here.
Exactly.
And you guys were in the Gracies, I assume, were selling to the benefits, all the way from what they created in their style of fighting, in their win totals, in their name. All of this said effectiveness.
Exactly.
And then if you bought a franchise through us, you have to be about what did you say? Form over function, function over form, or is that how you said it? Function over form? This is not about stuff that make you look pretty and all that.
Exactly.
We talk about, if somebody jumped on you, you have the skills to get them off you.
There you go.
What their size is. That is a huge selling of benefit. End result, right? Yep. Is the end result in such a way. And this is about your product. when I'm talking with an entrepreneur, it's just like this. I says, tell me where I'm delivered by using your stuff. And it throws them off every time because they hadn't thought about it like that. Because they only know, well, we do this. I didn't ask that. I didn't ask the color. I didn't ask the shape. I asked, where will it deliver me? And it digs in. Well, when you wear these, you will feel.
Yes.
Right. So I don't have dad jeans on now. I've got something that makes me feel sexy and young. Oh, you see, now that's when you're speaking to that, you've jumped into the psychographics of the person.
Exactly.
Where do they want to be? What is and I've heard this term before, the qualified, here it is, everybody, the qualified end result. In other words, how can you qualify this end result for me? And it is when you go through our class, when you do our course, when you buy our product, here is the result you'll get. Now, that's not where you stop. And as a result of getting here, all your friends are going to be like, oh my gosh, they have arrived. Or you see, so that's what you're trying to get people to, and that's knowing the customer. And if you know that hunger beneath, you're selling to that. Rob, have you ever heard this term? People have the reason, then there's the real reason, right? Or the reason, their reason, the real reason, the reason they tell people, right? And then the real reason.
Right.
So I was talking to a young lady who was, moving out of town. And I was like, well, why are you moving? I said, you can tell me why you moving. Oh, I says, well, tell me the real reason. And then she's like, well, the real reason is.
Exactly.
You see what I mean?
No. That brings up a really good point. Yeah, the reason, the outward facing reason. Right. My mentor said it like this. And shout out to Dr. Angela Loria, for those of you all who know her. She runs the author incubator. She's a phenomenal lady. One of the things that she used to say, or that she still says, but one thing she said when we were training was, there are certain things that people want to be seen wanting.
Ooh. People
right.
Want to be seen wanting.
And so in your marketing and in your copy, like this gets into how it gets even deeper, right? So there are certain things that, like that conversation that I had with people about what type of gym to come to and stuff like that. That's not a conversation that I would put out in marketing copy, because before people get through the door, they may be comfortable thinking that they want to be a UFC star. They may be comfortable thinking that they want to be, a sports jiu-jitsu or whatever. That might be what gets them to make the first step, to make the first decision. But then when they get through the door, we actually challenge them and say, all right, we know what you kind of think you want. Now tell me, are you our people? Are you right for this program? And it puts a little bit of challenge there, but it also, I think, goes to that point that you were talking about with the restaurants and where the waiter comes up and asks you what you want to eat and what would you like to eat first? What would you like to eat next? It forces you to make decisions that commit you even more to the enterprise. And that power of understanding that when you're trying to get them to make the first decision, you got to, which is just to engage with your content, which is just to continue reading, to continue listening or whatever, that can be a lot broader. That space can be all call to everybody that's out there, because you're going to niche them down over time to make sure that they're the people that you want to deal with, that you want to spend your time with, that you want to have your product or whatever the case may be. I think that was something that was really interesting though. And it goes with that whole idea that you just said with, what they want, what's the reason, and then what's the real reason. It's what are they comfortable being seen wanting, but then the thing that really gets them to lock into you is when you can get to that deeper reason and say, now here's what you think is what you want, here's what you really want.
And it all starts with questions.
Exactly. And it's one of those things that it convinces them that you really know what you're talking about. But like you said, it starts with questions, because figuring that out, like that takes so much getting to know your client and getting to get intimate, deep knowledge of your client. How do you get there, especially as a beginning entrepreneur? How do you get that type of knowledge? Right?
Asking questions. I keep going back to that.
But who are you asking these questions to? If you haven't sold anything yet, if you haven't gotten it out into the marketplace yet, who are you asking these questions to?
Into the groups that are already buying something else. Right. So now again, if you're taking the approach of I'm going to go where people are, right? I'm going to go where my ideal customer may be already shopping. There's a lot of people that were shopping at Walmart that started shopping at Amazon. There's a lot of people that shop at Amazon started shopping somewhere else when Walmart.com came online. When all of these other places that have decided to take a scoop out of the ocean, you've heard us talk about that before. Don't boil the ocean, take a scoop, and that's your niche. And they says, I just like a subset of that. So that subset, that small amount may be enough until you grow that. So you are in essence going to, let's say, for example, you've got any kind of business, right? And you say, well, I know people are satisfying their hunger or their desire for this product in this way. Now, I got to figure out how to get in front of them. So I'm going to go, hey, where are the groups already congregating? Where are they already coming together? And that may be my competitors, right? So I may join that group. Right now, it's a little stealthy, but I may join that group. And then I'm going to just start, when I see a question being asked, or I see something where I can, we hear this term add value or comment on, right? And then you comment on it from your perspective, whether they like it or not. Then people start going, who is that person that just dropped these nuggets? Where are they? And I've done it too, personally, right? You don't go in and try to take over somebody's group because that'll get you banned and all. And that's just not ethical, right?
Right.
But at the same time, you're saying, hey, look, I'm trying to eat and I can add value here. And people may say, I know I do this, but I'd also like to do that. How many different restaurants do you eat at? Not just one. You may say, I have a taste for, and having a taste for may be enough for you to have a nice business.
Yeah.
And then you find other people and people start saying, hey, where you go to get? Well, I go over here. Right? Because it's where I am satisfying this particular taste. Now they brought somebody. And then you can ask them, hey, if you bring a friend, I'll give you half off. Oh, I'm bringing Rob next.
So how long does this process take, right? Like, again, I'm thinking about, and I'm asking these questions because I'm channeling the beginning entrepreneur that's like trying to get out into the marketplace and is chomping at the bit to start marketing and start trying to get people to buy their stuff. How long are we taking? Are we talking about a year's worth of research? Are we talking about a day? Like how long would I spend in this process of kind of interacting with my potential ideal customer and trying to ask questions and trying to build relationships and stuff like that? How long before I can get started doing stuff?
It all depends, in my opinion, on how you like your money. Seriously, right? I was talking with an entrepreneur that I'm working with. I says, now I'm gonna give you 3 approaches. I'm gonna give you the fast money approach. And if we want the fast money, then this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna create affiliate marketing. Somebody already got the product. I'm gonna go and do some demographic studies through Facebook to find out where they are, right? And then I'm gonna put the product in front of them. That's fast money. That may not be the best money. And then I says, okay, that's fast money. And I says, now we've got long and good money over time. That may be a content marketing approach that may take a long time, right? So if I am saying, look, I need to put some paper in my pocket in a week, then I'm doing a couple of things. I'm going to go find someone that has a product. Does not have to even be in my field. I just want to find people that are already hungry. Then I'm going to do some search engine optimization. I'm going to do some keyword searching, right? Search intent marketing. I'm going to find out so first I'm going to go find a product, right? I'm going to find an audience actually, and then I'm going to find a product. So I go find what are people already searching for? And this is where I was talking to you. I says how we go to Amazon, see what the top 10 selling books were. Well, what is that telling you? Well, because somebody got excited about a subject matter. I can go and find the top movies. What is it about those Marvel movies that just seem to, what was it about the story that made people excited? I'm going to go find. So if I'm thinking about my day, I'm saying, what can I do in 8 hours? I can go find that out. What can I do in the next 16 hours? Right. That I can go and say, okay, I'm going to find out A, what they're searching for. B, I'm going to go take all day to find a product. Next day, I'm going to figure out how I can create some kind of landing page that drives them to that, to my stuff. Right. That's a quick money side of it. So find out what they're searching for, find a product, put it in front of them. Right. Because you got a hungry audience. And this topic is about. So that's how you get the quick money. Now, the long money approach and the good money approach, the one that you can make money for years, is to say, okay, now I've got a couple of bucks in my pocket. I am no longer starving. Now I can take a longer view of this. So then that may be, okay, I'm going to create content that drives people to a site that I own, that on that site, I have now my affiliate products. I'm going to have my, things that they can click on. Now that's the long approach, right? And then now, if you want that money into eternity, that's where you're saying, I'm going to now build courses. Because we know that if you tried it the other way, you could spend a lot of time building courses that nobody wants. But think about what I just suggested here. First things first, find something that somebody already has. Find that audience that wants stuff because they're searching for it, and you just connect it. Bam. And for your efforts, you get paid. Then you go, wait a minute, if I can create the kind of stuff that drives people to stuff that they show that they want, now your job is to, every article you write, like I was talking about the young lady who had the gems and stuff like that and crystals. And I says, let's marry crystals and productivity. Why? Because people are searching for it. Create an article on that. You now have a link to your products. So because you're going to rank better because they're already searching for it, right? And even if you got to buy the keywords and kind of raise it up a little bit, get on first pages of Google and all that good stuff, at least now you're there. They click on your stuff. They already are searching. They come to your product and they go, oh, I want that. Boom. They click on your stuff.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So now that's an approach. Then you start saying, well, I did pretty good at this, everybody. And I'm a superstar in this area. I've got some experience. I'm going to build a course to show you how to do it too. And now you've got the group of folks that say, how did you do that? How do you go from not knowing what to do to doing it at a high enough level to where you're making a good income? And then they go, will you show me that? And you go, well, absolutely. I got several ways I can show you. I got a course, you can buy that, right? I got a YouTube channel, I got a community, all these different things. And then now you have the opportunity to present stuff to them at various stages of their life, right? From hunger to understanding to higher levels to when they become masters. And then you invite them back because they learned your techniques. And you can say, I have assembled a whole bunch of awesome folks, right? We're going to grab the Randys, the Rob, the Chris Mathises, the Kara Allens. We're going to grab a whole bunch of folks, and we're going to say, we're going to teach you how we do what we do. And that costs. Exactly. And it's over here at, the Deltaplex or a DeVos place, or, because of where we live, or it's wherever. Now you go and say, I want to be around all those folks. I just spent $4,000, $2,000, whatever the ticket price is to learn. And then what you've done is say, okay, Rob, Randy, Care, Chris, when you sell, 50% comes to the house. Why? Because I'm going to get you folks that you did not have to go and spend money to acquire. Now we dug deep here, but we're talking about how do you, sell to a hungry audience.
Yes.
And we just showed you guys on the steps to take. We've given you some practical ways to do that, giving you a couple of tools to do that. Now, in order for you to go deeper, Rob and I are putting together some premium content that is going to be locked. I'm telling you, it's going to be locked to everybody else. Now, we've got a little bit that we're sharing and we're showing. All right. We got a little bit that we're sharing and showing, but to get into that deeper stuff, into the actual, now show me how, walk me through it. That's premium stuff, right? And we're going to leave, I don't know if we're going to leave a link in this one, but I'm just telling you, this is what's coming. is the premium content that we go deeper into this stuff, that we literally, have you bring your idea, your business, and then we show you how to apply these things that we're talking about. We're using our own individual styles, our own individual way, because Rob and I do different businesses, and then we have some things that touch points that are similar, but we bring all of that power to bear on what you're trying to do so you can be successful. So you don't have to spend all this time guessing.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing. It's the difference between experimentation and just blind guesses, right? And what Randy kind of broke down just there, I don't know if y'all got, put it all together. So I want to synthesize it just for a second. We started off talking about how do you even find who your client is? And then we talked about how do you talk to that client so that you understand, so that they understand that you understand them, right? And so that they know that they can get their hunger filled with you. But then Randy just went and broke down to you, if you're a beginning entrepreneur and you're trying to get this thing off the ground, he talked to you about you can either go fast or you can go long. And actually, they're part of the same strategy. You get this fast money because it's going to teach you a number of things about this process. Absolutely. But you already have somebody who has done all of the bulk of the work. When you're selling an affiliate type of product, they've done the marketing copy. They've done the looking at the ideal client. They've done the market research. They've done all those different types of things. And so what you have to do is just go and find the client that they're looking for. And so you get that practice. Then you can roll that over into creating your own and building your own group that has that same problem and building your own package. So just realize that it's a progression. It's one of those things. And Randy, that I say this in all the classes that we teach together. And entrepreneurship is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Right. So many people are trying to get things done fast. And the one thing that you have to realize is this is the type of game where it's not given to the swift, nor to the strong, right? Nor to the quick. It's given to the people that are willing to do the race to the end. It's given to the people who are consistent and who are willing to go where you need to go. So as you go through this, pull out the nuggets, go rewind the video, watch some of the stuff, because Randy went deep there and he gave a lot of nuggets in just that little last 5-10 minutes of the video segment. Make sure you go back and look at that and see how you can take at least just one thing of what he gave in this video today and implement it into your life. Let us know in the comments if you get an affiliate sale, if you get something like that you've set up, that you've been able to do for somebody else, or if you've actually gone and done some, client conversations, talking to your clients and figured out what they want, what language they're speaking, the psychographics. Put that down in the comments. Let us know how this has impacted you, how this has helped you, because we really want to hear how you all are growing from being able to hear us mastermind, being able to hear these things we're talking about. We're really interested in your growth. So put that in the comments. Let us hear. We're really excited about it.
And that's one of the things that distinguishes us from, another podcast. If I go on another podcast and I'm just listening to dudes talking, I'm just not feeling that. I want to know from what they said gives me a qualified end result, right? That I can literally say from what they just told me, the next day, I can go create something. I can add it as another piece to what I was already doing that gets me closer to what I'm trying to achieve. That's the key part, right? So what you just heard is a tool that you can immediately go to and go, oh my gosh, this is what I do. Okay, that's fine. Type that in. See how many people are searching for it, right? Go over to Amazon and type in the first couple of words of it and see what books, items, whatever comes up next. Try Googling it. This is another strategy. Try Googling what you do and see how many other things that are being done in that area. See, that's stuff that gets you close. YouTube, same thing. You go and type that piece in and you start seeing a whole bunch of videos come up in your space. Now, if you come up with, 30 videos, maybe it's kind of oversaturated. So you got to figure out how to take a scoop out of that ocean. But if you got maybe 10, now you got a spot. It shows that people are nibbling, right? And they're kind of, oh, what is this? And then you come in and go, well, this is this. And then now you got a chance to become, one of the leaders in that space, because not too many people are in it, but enough are in it to know that there's a market for it, that people even want it, that there is what? A hungry audience. A
hungry audience. There we go.
That is one of the key things that we wanted to make sure that you were left with, that you can act on This is an action-based podcast that we do here, right? We go and mastermind on it, the subject matter. Then we bring it to you and go, oh, here's what we found. And here's the experience that we're bringing to it. And by the way, if you do this, this, and this, here's how you can achieve. And then we say, hey, listen, you want us to help you go further with this? You want to dive in deeper with this? All right, we'll jump into our premium content. Jump into that. And it's probably on a membership basis, right? But then that's where we're talking with you. You send us a question, we figure it out, and we're sending the information to you. But that's premium membership stuff, right? That's us pulling it all out and doing the work that helps you go, oh my goodness, I just leapfrogged my competition. How did I do that? Well, you had the two business guys masterminding on it. Right. And that's one of the key things. So Rob, what can we close up with? I just had a couple things, just a couple shared things. One of the places you can go is Ask the Public, right? You get it's a free and paid kind of a thing. Ask the Public. You can go to Amazon, type in and find the top 10 things to see where your competition is. You can, again, use the Google search trends, Google Trends, which really works well, right? Long before you get into Google keyword tools, that's a little bit different, but that's when you get the trends, you say, oh, there's a lot of people looking for this. Now you can get into some specific tools. And that's what we talk about in our premium content is we talk about, here is the tool. Use this, and we'll show you sometimes, hey,
and here's how to use it. Yeah.
There it is. There's your information. Look, here's the competition. Now go. And then what I love to do is show people how to start that conversation. Here's what you do next. Right?
Exactly.
Oh, I'm not a writer. Well, we show you some tips and tricks and templates, man, that just get you there faster. Exactly. That's the whole idea.
Exactly. No, I agree with you. And I think the one thing that I would say is we want to be about not just informational education, but transformational education. The whole idea is that you transform yourself. So take anything, one thing that you've learned in this video, apply it. Don't just listen, don't just consume, apply. Because when you apply, now you get the benefit of your life being different because of the things that have gone on, because of the things you've heard, because of the information you got. Don't just be a sponge. Don't just soak it all in. Make sure you go use it. Make sure you go do something with it. Because regardless of whether you're successful or you're not successful in that attempt, you're going to be more knowledgeable. You're going to have more understanding and more experience. So go and apply what you're learning so that you can have transformation, not just information.
That's it. And report out, right? Bring it back. Say, hey, these dudes are full of canal water, or, oh my gosh, they just put, the last piece of wood on my boat and now it floats very, very well. And
there we go.
We want to hear that information.
Definitely.
Right? And we want you to like this video, comment on this video, put in the comment field. I'm telling you, we need your comments, because it is in those comments, in the questions that you ask, that then we are allowed to dig deeper and be even more informational, so that it helps you get to where you want to go a lot faster, especially faster than all your competition.
Exactly, exactly. So we appreciate y'all. Remember to like, subscribe, click the bell, and share this to somebody that needs to hear some of this information. If there's anything that you feel like stood out, make sure you share it with a friend so that they can get the information and the transformation as well.
That's it. We'll talk to you next time.
There we go. See you next week, everybody.